on YouTube here called Natural Connection with the Shaman. I'm here live with Mrs. Toad, Jamie Jetty. She's a wonderful healer, mystic, and divine arts specialist. So I'd like to welcome you in. And Jamie, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Well, hi, and thank you so much for allowing me to be on here. I love your podcasts. I think they're super clear, and they have a lot of information that has helped many of us, myself included. Um, and I'm getting used to this technology stuff. I think we talked a little earlier about being one on one, where it seems to work a little easier because we're designed to be together. But this is the one good thing that I will say out of the pandemic that came out of this is we had to step up our game. We had to step up our game, get out of status quo, and think of different ways to communicate and different ways to connect. And so I was an avid Zoom teacher during that time, and I had many students, and it still allowed us to be in control of the situation within our hearts and our connections. So we didn't fall into that play of being, and I don't mean any disrespect for anybody, but we're not sheep. We're amazing, amazing creations. I mean, I can talk for the rest of my life about that, but anyway, that's it. I'm really happy. And you're all wondering how I got the name Toad. I met this amazing man um, after 26 years of marriage and never thought I'd get married again. And it was really great. I knew I had a mission. And then somehow I met this man with a tattered shirt at a spiritual center with his interfacing hanging out. And pickup line, when he asked me what I do, I told him that I work for a home builder, and he said, "So what do you do?" And he says, "I'm an electrician. I can fix your shorts." I just fell off the floor. I couldn't believe he used such a pathetic line, which I thought that was so judgmental. But I was like, "What?" So anyway, long story short, we fell in love, and um, I thought it was very interesting while we were dating. We were down at Gold Springs, and we were doing for my very first time a boulder hike, and I didn't know what that was, but I was all in. And so we went on this hike, and somehow that's where I started channeling. Is that I was carrying the picnic in a backpack, and I just turned to my husband now, Bob, and I said, "Oh my gosh!" And he says, "What?" I said, "I just got told what our purpose on the planet." And he instantly said, "Oh, you mean your pop?" I said, "I don't know what it is." But I just heard so loud in the valley at Gold Springs near the hike where the mineral bath is,
Yeah.
that we are to raise the vibration one soul at a time. Lo and behold, we married a year later, and we've been together 11 years, and that's exactly what we do. Is we just find that which we believe, that which you need always comes before you. I think it's an unwritten law, but we just help people one person at a time, to help identify themselves of how beautiful and sacred, and that all they have is all right there within. All
Right.
that we all we need is right here on this amazing paradise of this planet. And I know there's a lot of chaos. Okay, I get that. But anyway, so getting back to Mrs. Toad, so everything that we did, my husband is he tries to put so many things, and everything was an adventure. Well, all of a sudden, I said, you remind me of that ride at Disneyland, Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, and that's how all of a sudden, literally, our life for 11 years has been buckle up, Jamie, because it's a ride. So there's times when you hold your hand up and say, "Whee!" And then there's other times you're just like, "Oh man, I'm feeling a little nauseated." So hence that's how Mr. and Mrs. Toad is here right now. So
What a beautiful
Anyway,
story. That's beautiful. I like that. The wild toad. What about those white knuckle times?
yeah, no, he might have some marks on him for me gripping him, but that's all.
Yeah. Nice, nice. That's a beautiful story. So, tell us a little bit about how you got into sound medicine. Because for you who don't know, Jamie is my collective group. We are friends in person. We gather every weekend. Me, Cheryl, Jamie, Katie, Bob, and we just enjoy our space together. But they are profound sound healers, and I've been to quite a few of their sound baths, and there's transcendental experiences I have. There's non-linear timeline experiences I have through their sound baths, and being a person who's been to a lot of sound baths and given up on them at a point, I'm really glad that Katie and Jamie's Stargate Medicine, because like our topic today is going to be impermanence. I'm really deep about impermanence, and I'll get into a little bit of that later, but that's the kind of blissful essence I feel from their medicine. So I was wondering, like, what was your first calling to like, hey, I'm gonna do this?
Well, my first calling was back when my mother was very ill, back in 2012, when I just had separated in my new life. I just stood up one day and said, I'm done. And I have no idea what that meant. But I just turned to this gentleman of 26 years and said, I'm done. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And so move forward a couple months later, I had taken my mom into one of this place in Henderson, and they had the most spectacular bowl. It was a small little bowl, and it was something that it spoke to me. And that was back in 2011. I'm sorry. I played it, and I could see my mom. She really lit up. I mean, she lit up. So we didn't think anything of it. And good God, who's going to spend $400 on a crystal ball? Not me.
Yeah.
So forward, I was at the center, and all of a sudden there was one up there. I'm at the spiritual center on Harmon, and I said, "I see that that bowl is broken." Oh yes, it's broken. It's not for sale. I said, "Are you sure it's not for sale?" And she says, "Well, I can give you a discount, but it was broken." I took it home and I began to have a relationship with it. I sanded the inside. It was chipped. It was broken. And then all of a sudden, I just started playing and playing and playing. Well, then my mom got really ill, had 2 heart attacks in one day. So I drove the bowl down with her or down there to see her. And I mean, my brother was sobbing. The doctor said she's not going to make it till the morning, all these things. So my mom has always wanted to leave this plane with a grand party. So
Oh,
right there in the school, we had a grand party, played the Rolling Stones, those two blonde-headed guys. Oh God, I forget their names. We
easy.
had a fun party in all my brothers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but we played everything. Well, in the meantime, I kept playing the bowl, and you could see her something come up. It was very evident that it filled her with joy. Somehow, I don't know if her heart remembered, if her cells remembered, but I just kept playing the bowl. So afterwards, after consoling everybody in the family, we had to say, we had to leave the hospital, and I literally left my mom with her lips were blue and her toes were blue, and I knew that it was that this was her transition.
Yeah.
So I remember sitting on the edge of the bed and the bowl right there, and I just played and played. And I put my hand on her chest and I looked in her eyes. And it was such a peace that I never experienced. Sometimes I feel it, but not like that at that moment.
Yeah.
It was almost like a peaceful thank you for everything. I see you. And then I left. So I'm talking to my brother the next day. I'm like, did you get a call? I didn't get a call. No, I didn't get a call. So we said, okay, I got to go there. We went there, John, and let me tell you, here is this lady sitting up, sucking on a vanilla shake, watching Joel Olstein. Her lips were pink and purple. I mean, pink and I was like, what happened?
Yeah.
That's when I knew there was something about the sound. Something about the sound was profound. So I started studying, and she ended up being with us for another 4.5 years. So I knew she had a purpose, and I now see it might have been the purpose to help my brother and I with our journey too. She wasn't finished as a mom. So
Yeah.
that was lovely. So then fast forward, I just played it, for friends and typically just for myself. And then we met this young girl. Um, this was before I met Katie. And I met this girl, I think the same day that Katie came over for a 4th of July party. And this lovely, lovely spirit. I mean, there's something about her I really like. She's do sound baths. And I'm like, what in the hell is that? She said, "Well, sometime can I can you come over, you and Bob?" And so a little while later we went over, and it was so it was so the amazing experience to raise the hand. It did something. You can feel when that frequency does something through you.
Yeah.
So we went a couple of times, and then this guy we found through another friend. He came. We had a roof that was leaking on our RV, and he was fixing it. And I said, I've been asked by one of the elders at the playa to hold the women's circle. I was so ecstatic. I wanted to bring my bowls, and I said, you can't do that. You can't. And he said, this young kid said, my mom goes everywhere. She goes to the beach. She takes him everywhere. Lo and behold, I met this woman. We met for coffee. She came out and she did an amazing sound out there at the playa. I think it was one of the last circles out there before Amazon took over the BLM land.
Oh.
Anyway, we started going to her monthly full moons. And there was something that happened to me. I don't know how to describe it, but it was something as if my cells, my DNA remembered. I know that might sound crazy to like, oh, what is she smoking? I don't smoke
Not at all.
anything. So it was lo and behold, and I thought, I just want to share this. I want to share this. So I started shopping for bowls, and Bob didn't know I was shopping. He's over starting his own little business, and I'm doing my own little thing. I'm on a mission. I want to raise the vibration of humanity. I'm telling myself something, John, big is unfolding galactically, but that's another discussion.
Yeah.
So somehow I walked in. We were going to a closed place. And I said, Bob, I don't need another stick of incense and I don't need another crystal. Really, I don't. And I said, no, no, let's go. And for a man to say, let's go shopping, I was like, he's onto something. I don't know what it is. We walk in, this poor woman had been such a healer that she hadn't protected herself all these years, that she was almost crippled. It was sad to see.
Yeah.
And sure, I walked in and there's all the sages and crystals. And I said, I'm only in for one thing. I said, I'm just looking for some bowls. And she goes, oh, I've got a few over there on the floor, on the floor.
Really.
I said, "No," and so she asked a certain price, and I just walked over, and they had so much dust in them, they hadn't been loved.
Yeah.
They hadn't been loved. Anyway, she lowered it by $100 while Bob's talking to his sister, trying to figure out the best price, and I walked over and I said, "She dropped it $100." And my sister-in-law said, "Boy, you sure have a lot of chutzpah, Jamie." I said, "No, she offered it to me." I said, and I thanked her. I said, they want to go to Shangri-La and they are going to raise the vibration and the frequency of thousands. Mark my word that you have made the right decision and you listened. So thank you. And then that's how it opened. Katie and I met, she says, "Look, I've got all the shaman instruments from all over the world. You got a lot of bowls. Let's try something." Well,
Right.
John, the first time we did it, the
Abs-
bowls were on the floor. They were on the floor. This is before we practiced with all of you.
yeah.
They wouldn't sing, and Katie's looking across the room from me, and she's like, "I mean, I did everything, John, to have them sing." That's when we discovered that my bowls, they'd had enough of the floor. So I
Right.
said, "We have to have a come to Jesus meeting." So I put them out on the ground to get them grounded. I put them out on the full moon. And then I forgot that the sprinklers come on twice in the morning. So they also got baptized from Shangri-La.
Nice.
And then I brought them in and then they started singing. And then I told Katie, I said, my bulls do not like the ground. And ever since then, we play them up. And we've discovered it's just with the rattles. We do a lot of channeling. I'm still learning about that, but we listen. We listen. We're just the conduit. It is not us. We are just the instruments that the universe, we believe, the presence, the collective, um, is 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 wanting to be heard through us.
Yeah.
We are just instruments, as if the wind blows through us. And so it's really interesting too, each bath, as you experienced a few, it's all whoever is there. It's all the consciousness and the collective of the energy. And I know when you close your eyes, you don't see anything. But by God, when you put two magnets together, right before when you pull them apart, you feel that energy.
Yeah.
There is an invisible energy, an invisible force field. And then you engage. So it happens with Stargate Sound Medicine. Um, Katie's angelic voice is just it. I'm telling myself, people's DNA remembers what it's like to be in the heavens, to be as an angel, to hear song, and her voice is so tuned in to that sound. You can't find it on the radio.
Right.
Really, you can't. I've listened to so many podcasts, you cannot describe it. It's but all of our ceremonies are experiential.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I've been there and how it just, you guys channel the flow. That has a lot. I sold my singing bowls to Abigail McBride, remember? But when I used to play them, I would play them at the park for myself. And the energy, like you're talking, when you were talking about your mother, I could feel it rising in my body. The same as when I used to play my bowls in the park with my eyes closed. So I know what you mean about it just flows. When I would open my eyes, there would be coyotes or road runners or animals sitting there. And I felt like Snow White, only the male version. I'm like, what the hell? Get out of here. It's the coolest thing I've ever seen. They do have massive healing qualities to them.
Really, then a friend said, "Well, you and Katie are doing so much expansion with Stargate Sound Medicine. Let me tell you, anybody that's tuned in, tapped in, and turned on right now, that's an old Abraham Hicks
Yeah.
line. But I'm telling you, even Monday at Life Reflection, this woman, when I said, hold on, everything is happening at warp speed. This is not, well, I'll get to it. This is in your face and everything, all the messages, all the stepping stones, one after another are coming. And I thought she was going to jump right out of the chair and said, oh my God, that's been happening to me. I said, yes, but
Yeah.
make sure you guide them. The universe loves when you talk. I this is a new practice for me, but literally, it's not like I'm waiting for the outer world to tell me what to do with all the belief that my parents and my parents and my parents' generations, they did everything the best they knew
Oh,
at
yeah.
the time. But this is 2025. We've got stuff unfolding. This guy Bashar, he is talking about 2027. I've got galactic friends that are talking about this three-eye atlas. If you aren't paying attention, besides that tube in the room,
Right?
that screen, there is a world out there that is it is happening and not in I'm thinking that it's allowing us to get used to the frequency vibrating at a higher speed.
Yeah.
It's not just, let me think about it. We are, all of us are the collective light workers and way showers are almost like the lotus. And we're now coming out of the mud, John, and we're seeing the light. We're remembering. And the light, the lotus, oh my gosh, that's where I bloom. So with the friend, someone had mentioned, you guys are, Katie and you are moving at such warp speed. And I said, that's because we say yes to everything. Resist nothing except everything. Everything, because the universe works for us. It's here in precision for us. So, aren't you afraid that they're copying you and everybody's getting a bowl and everyone's doing all this? I said, are you kidding? This is bigger than a sound bath.
Right?
This is bigger than an experiential. I tell everybody, if you are getting the message and your heart is saying and your gut is saying, I want one of those,
Yeah.
I tell them, go out and buy one and add 10 more to it.
Right.
There, I am telling myself, and I know that this really, I don't know if I've said this to you before, Don, but I really believe this because it's all over the planet right now, and everyone calls it the rage. You can use the word and label it anything you want, but my heart and my gut, that in between umbilical cord that is connected to this universe, is telling me that somehow we are calling in something.
Yeah.
And because it feels so blissful, I'm gonna say it's love. But I'm also gonna say, is it the masters? Is it the ascended angels? Is it our ancestors that wanna say, "Hey, I think you need a little help on this planet because there's a lot of discord. You're, treating it like it's the inside of a garbage can, and I provide for you." This is what I'm thinking Mother Earth is saying.
Yeah.
So the ascended ones, I'm thinking that's what the sound and this stargate in all these people, buy one, buy 10, and
Right.
play. Like John says, go to the park, sit with it, and experiment in your petri dish of this universe of and this universe, interesting how it's universe. I look at it as a university because there's so much to learn when we sit down and just listen in that stillness and that in that silence. Gosh, I I know Eckhart Tolle and Deepak, all of those have talked about it. But until you do
Yeah.
get into that silence, it's 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 for all of us.
You
We
know,
were talking about Monday at Life Reflection Cafe. And really out when we're in the galactic, in the universe, and all the stars and all the planets, there is a sound, but yet there's a silence.
yeah. It's funny you mentioned that. I've been talking with my mom and Cheryl, of course, last night. My mom had sent me an Instagram video and I kind of resonated with it. But what I told her is like, have you ever been so tired that you nod off and wake up and nod off and wake up? And I go, well, that bliss that it feels in between that nod and wake up. I go, once you've been over there and you've swam over there and you've existed over there, it makes life feel like that. Every time I'm at that moment, something wakes me up. I go, it's kind of funny. I consider it a dance, but it is the most undescribable, most beautiful feeling I have ever felt in my life. And that's what changed my life is reaching that state. Because before, we all start off in some kind of sadness or something that draws us back to source. And that's like you were talking about the magnets. That magnetic force is like, no, come this way. And then we align naturally. I'm totally into that. I get that.
Yeah, I like that. Um, and I think that's why I have become so passionate about, um, the adventure after this adventure. Um, I I'm just gonna jump right to the impermanence because I
Yeah.
really am excited about that, and I just want people to realize, there is something that is so eh, there's something so beautiful. It's undescribably beautiful. But with impermanence, we're all afraid on the Western civilization is that think of death as if it's a cut. Like someone said the other day, it was like a machete that cuts your heart open. And I thought this was beautiful what he said, that you must let the wound breathe.
Yeah.
God, lovely. To when you have when someone transitions, it does cut through us, and if you don't let the wound breathe, it becomes festered or it becomes putty, and it will show its ugly head later, whether it's cancer in your lymphatic system or in your hips or somewhere. Our bodies are designed so perfectly that it takes such good care of us
Yeah.
and knows what to do. So when there is a, a machete across the chest, whether it's a loved one or a job, an animal, a friendship, there is um, there is this gestation time of allowing the wound to breathe.
Yeah.
It has to breathe in its rawness. It I'm thinking too that the presence, the invisible that we still don't know about yet, is doing what it needs to do at the molecular structure of healing. And that way it will heal with a beautiful, beautiful scar as opposed to having it bump and hurt every time it gets hit or touched.
Yeah.
So the impermanence, we don't. I really truly believe because I've experienced with my son taking his own life 6 years ago. Um, that was really difficult. I
Yeah.
mean, I that was really really difficult. And then there were some crazy stories I could talk about at another time. But I started hearing, not him, I started hearing signals and clues and on my other son who found him, he would send pictures of messages on the back of windshields, or the back of cars when he was driving and it was ahead of him. I mean, I truly believe that the transition is that we transition from this bodysuit that houses and um, loves and nurtures our soul for whatever it is for the advancement for the next adventure
Yeah.
and the next adventure. So anyway, it was really loud with his messages. And I still haven't seen him. I've had a lot of friends who he's gone to visit them, maybe because they can handle it. And he knows I couldn't, but the signs are there and it's incredible.
It
that
really
there
is.
that is impermanent. Death is not final.
No, absolutely not. I know exactly what you mean by those signs. I kind of live in this. I mean, we have the pinball world of, society and technology, but there is also a pinball world of the other side. And I kind of live in that bubble. It's everywhere. And it's beautiful because we go by, I mean, let's just put it this way, it has stemmed a lifelong interest in the occult, mainly just to learn the languages of the impermanence communicating with us, all of the souls on the other side, the metaphors of an animal spirit, the metaphors of symbology, numerology, because once you tap into it, you're in what do they call that? Oh my God, what did they used to tell me it was called? Constant contact with the
Mm.
and so it is like I've had my own transition experience and lived through it, came back through it. And on the other side, there wasn't, we hear people talk about stories of hell and torture. And if you don't live by this rule, that's all bullshit, like
Fear. It's
go
fear
over.
based. They want you to be afraid.
Yeah, yeah, afraid so that you follow directions. And then when you go over, it's the absolute opposite. You're like, I mean, I was upset for about 8 years when I came back. That's how beautiful it was over there. I'm like, oh my God, this body hurts. This body is too small for what I am, And oh my
Oh, oh, tell me more about that.
God. I was injured at work and I was really, really, before that, I felt like I was the strongest man alive. Now, mind you, I've been into the occult for many, many years. Me and my ex-wife were kind of brought together by the same spirit on the other side. His name was Samael. We both lived very similar lives, having experiences with spirits and ghosts and families that were practitioners and et cetera, et cetera. But at this time when I had got injured, I had lost my strength, like, and that was devastating to me. Like to feel weak, to feel like I couldn't hold my body up anymore. Because back then, if I stood straight for too long, I would buckle over at the legs, still be standing, I'd buckle over. So I felt really pathetic. My ex-wife was cheating on me a lot and stealing money, and things were just going wrong. And so I remember this weekend they were all going to be gone. And I decided I was tired of living this weak existence. And I drank and ate all of my pain medications at once. And we're talking, I had Opana 40s, I had Oxy 30s, and I had Percocet 10s and Somas. I left. I'm laying on the bed and I'm like, it was agony. It was complete agony. To leave the body was horrible pain. And a pain you can't describe because it's all internal. And as I was going, my eyes looked like a squid going deeper and deeper into black water as my heart rate was slowing down. And I thought, okay, this is it. Here we go. And all of a sudden, I'm in absolute blackness, silky blackness, nothingness, no body, but I knew I was there somehow. And just as I was trying to like rationalize it, thoughts in your mind ended up leaving. And then from there, it's hard to describe, but the feeling of absolute joy, bliss, love, erotic orgasm, orgasmic, cosmic, just beyond description, amazing feeling. But something realized that I didn't belong there, and I start warping backwards like if falling from the sky through a tunnel. And you could see
Mm.
white streaks through this black tunnel. And I woke up in my body gasping for air, and I had brown veins all the way up my arms. Well, I was embarrassed, number one, for taking my own life. So I didn't tell anybody for a long time. But life was beyond belief. Like I was into the occult before that. After this experience, trees sang. The sky had eyeballs. Walls would come to life and come out. Spirits were moving through everything. Everything was communicating with me. And I was like, okay, I went Looney Tunes. I lost it, and I had to bring myself back together. But it was that same impermanence, all the spirits of the other side working through everything that helped me rebuild myself back to the person I am today. So it was the most beautiful experience. I left my wife after a while because I realized we wasn't so much that either one of us was the enemy. It was both of us, I think, were under the construct of everyone else's agendas. You know what I mean? Like, this is how a marriage should be. And and what kind of life is that? You know? So we set ourselves free and allowed ourselves to be. And that's how I turned out. Like, I started to live life again. And then I raised my kids until they were 18, and then they left the house. And then after that, it was me getting to learn myself again, but only now I have this divine gift. I'm able to live in the impermanence. It's beautiful.
Thank you. Um, I wanted to, it reminds me when you share this experience, what Eckhart Tolle and who is that other guy from Dumb and Dumber? Um, you have this awakening. Now, some go through this agony of your pain, and I think they did too. I'm just like, I now lately, my new practice is I talk. And Bob's like, who are you talking to? I said, I don't know, but I got to believe that something that can make the flowers blossom so beautiful out of an ugly shelled cactus has got my back. So I got to tell him, homie ain't going to have an awakening like that. I'm just going to let you all know. I've already put my foot down and said with ease and grace, just gently.
Yeah.
Um, and so I guess it's the awareness, or I don't know what I don't want to experience that. So I already know that I won't because I've already put my foot down. I've laid the law, I've crossed this line in the sand. Yep. I want to circle back about when you said about the shame on taking your own life. Um, uh, as a bereaved mother, I'm going to tell you, we all don't, uh, we all don't go to the other side in the same vessel. Some have the vessel of going with painful cancer. Some have car accident and they never get to say goodbye, but they go to the other side. That's a vessel. There's ones who have leukemia. There's ones who get murdered, or it's just so many different vessels. I look at them as different vessels. Because my son, he had suffered with multiple sclerosis so badly, and again, raised, you're a major, you don't admit that you're in pain and this and that. And then when we took him out of Stanford, well, they ambulanced him up to Stanford because multiple sclerosis is like your electrical board, okay, where you have all your circuits. Well, by the time the numbness had come up, he did not want to have a spinal tap. All four, all the appendages were flying. You couldn't control him. So from Monterey, my stepdaughter, they went ambulanced him, and he became a white rat, is what we call it. They studied him at the age of 21 because he was so severe with the multiple sclerosis. And after they're 18, you can't tell your children to take a test. You can't do anything with their medical. So anyway, long story short, we didn't realize, and this is what really straightened my former husband out. He says, "You know, Dave, you haven't had a shower in about a week. You really need to take a shower." And I remember David Allen turning and saying, "Dad, they feel like 1,000 needles hitting my skin."
Oh,
That was a sucker punch to Big Dave, who said, "Big boys don't cry," you know? And after that, it was a softening for that man's soul. He's still a bully, that's how he was raised to survive. But David Allen had so much pain, and so I went and I did a little dive deeper into someone taking their own life. And I say thank you for right now for you saying, "I attempted to take my own life." When we say the S word, it almost goes into the ugly words of labeling something. Like when we use the N word, automatically, we humanly go here.
yeah,
Oh, or redneck,
right,
or all these horrible, horrible names. Well,
yeah,
some people, they have labeled the S word as dirty. How ungrateful you are with this life. Judgment. You
yeah,
don't live in my shoes.
mm,
You didn't live in my shoes. You
right,
don't know the void. So we went to a couple of group sessions, and there, I remember this one parent, and these were parents that their 12-year-olds were hanging themselves. Good God. How do you live with that? What did I do wrong? What could I have said different? So you can't, that's where you have to come to the identification. It's their journey, and that's a tough one.
yeah,
So anyway, I remember this father saying, I couldn't say anything for years. My daughter finally achieved, but all I can tell you is it was a void. So I've talked to Katie about this. We're wanting to volunteer in the community for something that we're passionate about. I said, I would love to talk about anybody that I don't know how to fix them. That's not my job,
no,
John. Really good at holding high watch. I'm really good at listening. Tell me about the void. What does it look like? But the shame of I think that comes from the book,
yeah.
and I love the book, don't get me wrong. It's
Well,
stories, but I told Bobby, "Could you imagine? They wrote that on paper. They wrote that on palm leaves." I said, "Did you ever when we were in Girl Scouts, we played circle, and it was our lipstick, and what it was is you would tell the girl next to you the story, this one story, and then that all the way around to a circle, and the story would be totally different." I said, "How are we to say the book, the Bible, if the book of stories
yeah.
wasn't altered by trans telling the story over and over again?"
Well,
So
funny you say
somehow,
that.
what?
Really quick, funny you say that. The whole Catholic version of suicide is a going to hell version, right? That was made up because when the priests were out there on the holy crusades, to kill all the what they call them heathens, the Nordic tribes, the Gaelic tribes, the Germanic tribes, the Celtic tribes, they believed, I will not go to my enemy, I will take my own life. Same with Japanese, right? And so the Christianity, Catholicism wrote that if you take your own life, you'll go to hell to prevent people jumping off of a cliff. So that,
Wow.
yeah, a lot of went into that. My grandfather, who was in prison, I mean, he had his whole life to study. So he let me know some of the very teachings about suicide and whatnot, and how the even like St. Patrick's Day and driving the snakes out of Ireland. There were no snakes in Ireland. It's an island. This was all about St. Patrick merged with the Catholics, and that's why there's Celtic markings on his robe. because they needed to make up a story of the boogeyman, Satan, and they called it the snakes and chased it out. Oh my God. Sorry to interrupt, but when you were saying that, that's what it brought me to, is how it was a written law.
I knew it came from somewhere, but that's where now I'm not saying everybody needs to go and do it, but
No.
I that's where I think Katie and I with Stargate Sound Medicine is that we're here to be. I just had a download a dream where I was told you're a messenger. You're a messenger, and I'm like, okay, I'm a messenger. That's I'm not to do anything else. It's there. It's an inside job. God Almighty! If you can hear it once, you can hear it 1,000 times. But I was telling somebody how many times you want to get hit in the head by a 2x4 from the universe? Because if you sit down and tune in and tap in and turn on,
Yeah.
all of a sudden you're like, all the pieces of the puzzle will say, I'm going in the wrong direction. Let me turn this around.
Yeah.
So with everybody's journey is different. But I know that after all these people, I still love my son. I turned it around and I say, I got to have him for 31 years. I got to experience this beautiful, brave, courageous soul who loved everything and everyone. I see it now.
Yeah.
So with that impermanence conversation, I know that there is there is an after and an after and an after, because that's where we get the infinity sign.
Yeah.
There is no beginning and there is no end. There is only the continuum. Stop and allow yourself to contemplate that just for, even if just for one day. I mean,
Well,
wow.
you mentioned murder earlier, right? I, I don't think I've talked about this on the channel yet, but I've told Cheryl and people that are close to me. Where I used to live, there's a corner memorial tree that I didn't really get until this experience. I used to go at night and sit under this tree on the corner and meditate. And I would see from the street light through the tree's branches, a girl's face appear in the shadow on the light on the floor. So I
Wow.
started talking with this one, and I found out that she was a young girl who was murdered and chopped up in many pieces, 15 pieces, I think. And that tree is where her body was found, the scatters of her body. So I used to sit with this tree. I called her the death tree for the longest. And I would ask her, are you angry at the man who murdered you? And she told me, no. I mean, I'm sure if I was in the physical world, maybe, but there's no such thing as anger here. There's no such thing as hatred or discord. And I used to sit at this tree nightly, just helping me regain like closure with the impermanence. How no matter how we leave, it's beautiful. And then my kids told me the story of her. They found out, they knew about it because they went to the high school she went to. A man stalked and followed this 15-year-old girl every day after she walked home from school, and there was nothing really in this area at the time, very minimal homes. And he found her, he kidnapped her, he raped her, and then murdered her and chopped her up in a bunch of pieces. And that corner is where the family found her. So they bought the corner lot, planted that tree, and made a memorial there for her. But the simple fact of, like we were talking about signs, being there at night, the street light was it's right on the corner of TP and Grand Teton. And
Okay.
the street light lights right through the branches of the tree, and her face would appear in the shadow and light on the floor when I would sit there. And we would have the most beautiful conversations. Sometimes
Wow.
I would go there on mushrooms, and oh my God, how funny she was. She was hilarious when I would go on mushrooms. She would take over control of my cell phone and make it do these crazy sounds and ridiculous, weird. Oh my God. I still get the chills remembering these moments with her.
Well, see, where the universe has a sense of humor, I'm telling you. But and the fact that you little, I mean, once it's good to have that childlike. And so I'm telling myself, when you do not go on shrooms, you are that little child comes, and I'm playful, and I'm just like goofy. Well, isn't it interesting that the universe is like, oh, okay, well, we're going to show you what we can do on this side
Yeah.
through through that thin veil. There is a thin veil. I like to think of it like when we close our eyes, and I'm I know everybody has a book in them. Mine, when you close your eyes, when you look behind your eyes closed, I'm telling myself that's where the veil is. And
Yeah.
it's that thin. So the fact that you're gonna be playful and you're gonna be playful. I know a lot of people that are seers. I am a feeler. I also I read eyes. I must see the eyes. I don't know why. That is not my job. I'm gonna be 68 years old. I probably maybe have 30 years left. I got a lot of messages to give.
Yeah.
So I I I'm not gonna sit and try to figure the how. That's
No.
gonna be too much because when I know I've done a lot of eye gazing. God, have you ever done eye gazing, John?
Yeah.
Okay, it's awesome. For myself, literally, the blissful experience and all you it's particles. It's particles. And when I listen to kirtan, when that vibration, my DNA remembers and I can go again and travel with that. So I'm telling myself on the other side, there is no shame. There is no guilt. There is no fear. There is no all that blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah. It is, it is such a freedom of particles, formless form that effortlessly, let me rephrase that,
Yeah.
moves. So that's why I think the sound, we kind of played when we did our practice. You know, we're having our first float. We tried it with the float, and it was really fun because even with the bowls and these shamanic instruments and everyone on the water floating as if they were not connected on anything but part of everything. It was so much fun. The wind came and blew through, and I thought, oh, this is amazing. And then somehow I brushed up against when Katie was doing something on the other side of the pool. I brushed up against one of the palm trees, and I thought, oh, so you want to be played? So I just took my hands and played it. So I don't know if any of the guinea pigs heard it, but it was so much fun. And that's where sound, that's where the frequency, that's where learning to listen to yourself,
Mm.
to yourself. There's an amazing book I read years ago. I carried the one page. Oh, I still have it tattered in my wallet, and it was a reminder. But there is a point where you think it's your mind. Better We're leaving to go somewhere. I better go in and grab a coat. Your 3D mind says, oh no, there's not a cloud in the sky. You get to wherever you're going, and all of a sudden it's raining. And then you start paying attention. This is where I tell my students, it's almost like taking the radio dial of the station of the universe. And it doesn't, you can't just sometimes you can take and go right to the station and tune in. No, 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 no. You're going to hear a little static and you're going to go back and forth until you're like, all right, that's the third thing that I didn't listen to, And that, my friends, is not this.
No.
It is that beautiful connection in your gut where I truly believe the universe is God our back, God our front, God our above, God our below, God us all around. Yeah.
Funny story, you mentioned that. I believe this too. I believe our soul is just like everything outside of our body, right? So it sees all ahead of time, all behind of time. And that connection that we have is how we can predict, right? What are we predicting? But, anyways, this morning I woke up to one of those instances. I was having a dream, and in the dream, I have my cousin from California and her family trying to work with me to get them a place to live, right? But I'm busy as a priest and I'm banishing demons from a little girl's house, right? And my cousin's like, "You're a priest?" And I go, "Yeah, I'm a priest." And she started laughing. I go, "What's so funny? I'm happy with being a priest." And I'm banishing these spirits, right? And I wake up to like yelling at one of the spirits. I'm like, "Oh yeah," it had grabbed a little girl and tried to lift her up the wall. So I took the thing from her. And anyways, that moment, Cheryl tells me, "Your cousin from California messaged me on Messenger." And I'm like, "That's funny. They were in my dreams." And she's like, "Yeah, she's trying to get a hold of you." And I'm like, it's little things like that. That it is not our mind. There is something. We are connected. It is us. Like you can explain it best as fourth dimension. Like if our plane was three dimension, fourth dimension would be the dome that encompasses the entire plane. So here's us in the present, yet fourth dimension can see all forward and all reverse simultaneously at once. And we are connected to this. This is what our soul is.
Yeah. I too, that's collectively there is a if you want, there's a movement. There is definitely a movement. I tell everybody, God, I had this Japanese war. She was a war prisoner as a little girl growing up, and her family had her there. And I remember I think she's 89, but she would say that she goes, I just know I'm just going to vaporize. And I said, well, wow, tell me more about that. But she really believed that. Well, let me tell you, with this sound, and you know a lot of this too, the drum circles. The drum circles. If nobody has ever been to a drum circle, or you love a drum circle, go. And remember, the drumming is from our mother's heartbeat. We all came from the spaceship, if you will, the vessel of a womb, that we were in the water and we were fed. What did we hear? Our mother's heartbeat. Oh, baby. You want to go and travel and find out more about yourself? Go to a drum circle, because all of a sudden, and you'll get over your ego. Oh, well, they're doing it so much better, and their rhythm is this and their rhythm is that. No, close your eyes if you have to. Close
Right?
your eyes and just go behind your eyeballs into that thin veil, and just remember and allow your cells in your body, allow your cells to remember. And all of a sudden, I don't know how it works. It's amazing. The rhythm of your memory and your DNA and your cells, it it gets the tap, and it gets the tap, and the tap, and the tap, and all of a sudden you'll remember, and you remember, and then it takes you higher, and it takes you higher. I have not done LSD. I've never done acid. I've done shrooms a little bit. I did not like those. I've never done plant medicine. I just can tell you that I have been out of body, and it is a zen. And drumming, it started with drumming. So did that lead to me remembering of, oh wow, this feels good. So with the frequency, because I'm telling you, everybody that gets out and starts practicing with their bowls, it is not a sound here on this planet. It is a galactic sound. It is a frequency that all of a sudden your DNA and your cells go, oh, and you are almost like you're feeling like you're levitating and you're on the ground. That's why we say they're experiential. It's whatever you have come to the agreement with yourself to allow yourself to remember. So that's why I believe that there's more that keep coming again and again and again because they're okay. I put my big toe in the pool of allowance, and now okay. This time I'm gonna go to my kneecap. Well, hell, this feels so good. I'm gonna just get all in up to my neck.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, that's why this frequency it is helping us light workers to remember we are sacred. We are we are so connected to everything. Water, air, earth, the plants. It is it is not the world anymore that has brought us to this point. We are now, I'm thinking, and I'm really convicted from my heart of hearts, that there is a new birth happening on this planet, this civilization, and all of the mucky muck. We can tolerate it.
Yeah.
Don't ignore it. Don't hate it. Send and surround it with pure love. Become an alchemist. You, John, you of all people have shared to many of us how to turn and become an alchemist. And for the first time, when I read Shambhala the other day, I realized that that is what we can do.
Yeah.
So that we can, it's not for that, oh, that song by Paella or Payel or Blessed Are We. This is, we get to dance on this sacred ground. It's not only for us, and not only the answers that the ancestors that gave us this song. It is for us to allow and make sure that this planet and this hmm,
Bridge.
this portal, if you will,
Yeah.
for the for those yet to come.
Yeah.
That's ours.
That's
That's
the that's the whole purpose of ancestors laying down the footwork because every single time, every new era is the bridge into the next. Without being your sacred self right now, imagine a world ahead of us where nobody has this. They have nothing to look forward to. They don't like Disney movies. Oh, Mother Nature said, I like the life in this lady. What is her channel? Oh, do you have a channel, Jamie? Can you see the chat?
oh, I guess I can. I thought she was talking about the channel to the universe.
She's going to have a channel soon. She's going to have her Stargate
I
Medicine.
This is the birth of of the channel, Stargate Sound Medicine. This is my husband and I have YouTube from when we were in real estate, but the universe is bringing us both on a different path. And so, thank you. That's a sign that get on it, Jamie. Chop
Yeah.
chop. Channel.
Absolutely. Like I said, like Mother Nature is actually one of my longtime friends, and we all used to go on our friend Brian from Milky Way Weekly, Milky Way Galaxy, Milky Way Weekly, and we did podcasts just for fun. Like we would go on and talk about things that we learned. A friend would take a trip to Rome and come back and tell us all about it. We do live streams, and she's one of the original OGs, man. She used to grow some phenomenal weed. She makes cookies. She's got two beautiful daughters, and she's had quite a story.
Isn't that something? I used to come home and I would go to Kirtan at the center, and I would come home and I would explain to my son I was out of my body. It would take my husband, Bob, about 45 minutes to get me back in my body. I mean, I went, I
Yeah.
went. And then he goes, Mom, people take D
DMT?
DH, whatever that's up. He goes, you gonna do that with music? And I said, yeah. And that's when I knew. I mean, all the steps have been there all along about frequency. Um, so I really, really, I mean, even the rhythm. There's a woman, oh my God. She is over, I believe, in Switzerland, and she records the ice track.
Oh, yeah.
So many phenomenal sounds. And what are they trying to say? It's their way of communicating. I really believe that everything is consciousness. And now, um, um, oh, I'm going to do a plug real quick. On Saturday, if you sign up for our floating bath, we're giving away cobalt blue um, um, bottles that you can put in the sunlight, and it's going to be labeled with love and gratitude. And they say if you put it out in the sun, it changes the molecular structure. Well, I'm just doing all this studying. Do you know that there water has consciousness? The
Yeah.
grass has consciousness. That's why the trees, when you walk by them, and I know you're not gonna laugh because it's happened to a lot of us. It'll slap you. Like, what? You're gonna walk by me and not show respect? You're not gonna walk by and at least give me a little TLC? What? So
Right?
anyway, these if you come to our sound, we only have 8 mats. But anyway, getting back, consciousness, go back to the pyramids, go back to the Mayan, Machu Picchu. Oh my God, those granite, they're 5 tons.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, we tried to put a nickel through the line, and the precision of that cut is it is flawless. So
Right.
I did a study about somebody. This man has now discovered, now that we're learning consciousness, when we can consciously connect and communicate with water, fire, air,
Yes.
he truly believes that the ancestors back then knew to talk and direct the water on how to cut these pieces. If you've ever had the experience of Machu Picchu, you still get blown away until I heard that man say, the ancestors, knew how to communicate and direct the water, cutting the granite stones because they're as big, they're like 9 feet by 9 feet by 8 deep. They're not light,
Uh,
and they're stacked with such precision, but cut even sharper. And that's where I really love the fact and woke up that everything, be careful what you put into your body, be careful and communicate our words, in the book. First was what? The word. And
oh,
so
yeah.
I'm telling you, they didn't mess that up.
Yeah.
Nobody can forget that in the beginning there was the word. Everybody thinks there was a big bang explosion. There's all kinds of mythology, Greek mythology, Nordic, Swedish, everything. When when you start um, blessing the, remember, we're designed, you don't even tell this body to assimilate and eliminate, but it does. With it's so innate. So just imagine what health would happen besides all these frequencies. You allow yourself to just sit with it, and because we vibrate, it vibrates. Could you imagine if you told yourself, I thank you, cells. Thank you, tummy, whatever. I know that sounds so wackadoodle, and it does. You know what? Life's
It
an
only
experiment.
sounds it only sounds wackadoodle to those who are still wondering why they're so upset every morning when they wake up.
Isn't that sad?
Yep.
Sad.
So
Yeah, it's really
maybe
sad.
maybe they hear that combination of what you said and what I just put in the frame of mind, and they'll start talking to their water because it does make a difference. You speak into
Yeah.
your water, into your food, into your home. One thing I do when I walk in my home, thank you, home. I missed you. Thank you for this beautiful place where I could lay my head. I talk to my house because
Yeah.
it's the same essence.
Like I learned this from somebody years ago. This is why we communicate with the universe. This is why it's really important. It's okay. It's not, I mean, this is not the dark ages. This is not the caveman ages. We're getting over the mechanical age. We're going into a new galactic age.
Yeah,
Wake up.
yeah,
Um, so with that being said, we we are like the way showers. We are the ones that um, we can make the decision to talk to the universe. And my point was, I don't go into a restaurant and expect my waitress to know what the hell I want.
right,
Okay, I want a sesame seed bun, medium rare, lettuce, no onion, tomato on the side, overload it with pickles. That is how we talk to the universe. I have people that say, "Oh, I want a husband. I want
oh,
a house. I want this." Really? Are you getting too? Are you saying no? How about trying? I would like a shelter that is safe, affordable, and comfortable. And
right,
I trust that the universe knows exactly when that is to be for me. At that point, the universe is the magnet and it engages into, oh my God, we have an order.
right.
It doesn't care and it's probably when it happens, it is beyond your wildest imagination. That's
You know,
infinity.
You know what's funny about that is, like you said, learning how to deliver your order. Because how many times do you walk into this universal restaurant and say, "Yeah, give me a plate of blah blah blah," and you get it, and you're like, "Oh man, I forgot to." So I had a teacher in third grade, I think, third grade, and he did a practice with us that still to this day sticks with me. When you're going to give direction, practice writing how to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And he had us do that, and we come in and he read our instructions, and there was things like put the peanut butter on the bread. So he grabs the loaf of bread still in the bag, the jar of peanut butter, and sits it on top, put the jelly on top of that. And oh my god, you learn how to really get technical about your order, because that practice right there, work with a friend like you and Bob, write each other how to make each other a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and see how they take it.
Thank you. I can get people on because I'm just so excited about this first conversation. I'm seeing people to say hi, and my apologies. I actually just said hi. And so
Yeah.
I'm learning to, this is all, this is a tango for me, and I'm going to trip on my long dress. So I request that everybody paying attention or tuning in, just be a little patient and tolerant because I'm learning how to tango.
Yeah, me too. Like Mother Nature knows with the chat. Like I used to go on panels with her, and she would take care of the chat because I'm so. If I pay attention to the chat, I am squirrel, squirrel, squirrel. So at this time, anybody in the chat, if you thinking of that song person, at this time in the chat, if anybody has any questions or just want to say anything, go ahead. We're gonna let this be open to you guys because we have been in this our circle. We get along so great. We do this every Sunday. We flow, and it just can go for a lifetime. So I'm leaving it open to you guys so you can become a part of our circle. Our inner circle has really been a very grateful place for me. It's like
But
being
it's
home.
we're not alone. I want to interject here.
Yeah.
Is we're not alone. The small circles, there is something going on, even with the full moon. Isn't it so miraculous that the moon, as it gets or fuller here next to our planet, raises the tides. Well, you don't think it's not going to do something for us? Well,
Oh
let me
yeah.
tell you something too. We got the 3-eye atlas coming. We have comets coming out after that. If see, I get really passionate about this.
Go ahead.
To me, it's narcissistic and self-righteous to think that we are the only entities on in this universe. We're not.
Nope.
We, I mean, stop and think about how all the planets work in such synchronicity. The stars are 5 miles up. Really, we're at that. So I'm so glad to. I'll be a little softer when I share that message, but that will come with practice. Because right now there is a lot. There are other there is so much going on beyond what civilization has known but forgotten. I think that's how our ancestors, there's too much coming in, and no, it's not AI generated. There is too much because I used to, that was my favorite subject in school, 7th grade, Mr. Gorowski. We would ride our bikes over to the hill and dig up bones. Evidence is there that that was a civilization before, and it is now reappearing. It is reappearing, and it's for the, oh, I love that story. Anybody knows the walls of Jericho, and
Oh yeah.
walked, and it was, they wanted their city back, and the army had taken it. And no, 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 they what did they do? They walked for 7 days, and while the horns played at a certain time, and then on that seventh day they said, what? They said, sing. And on that, the vibration and that frequency, not a hammer, not a weapon was raised. That wall vibrated down. And see, I get goosebumps. All the people were able to retain or get their Jericho back, that was taken from them, because they knew they weren't warriors. They knew they weren't. They were a compassionate civilization, and it was the frequency of the song and the horns.
You know what I got as a metaphor as you said that?
Hmm.
The walls of the ego hiding your compassion within. Walk around yourself for 7 days, and on the seventh day, sing. Do you know how hard it is for a person to sing if they're nervous and not feeling it? But then when they break through and they start singing, I know when I sing country, I can feel like electric jolts and blissful energy flowing through me. That's just the metaphor I got when you said the walls of Jericho.
So I'm writing that down. So walking around, because I still am learning to use my voice and not be, because there's a lot of shame with that. A lot of shut up, you are off key. So that little monkey, I still working on that little monkey. Say, no, 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 you're not welcome here right now.
Right.
Walk around for 7 days and learn my song.
Learn the walls, walk around the walls of your ego for 7 days. And on the seventh day, sing and I'll watch the walls crumble. So basically, learn yourself and then sing
But
in all of it.
really, Socrates says, really, what I really, you're the smartest man on the planet. No, no, no. What I really don't know is I don't know. So, isn't that a lifetime? Is I mean, I can't just say, oh, I know myself for
Well,
myself.
the funny thing is, like my journey through the occult, we go through this very egotistical phase called Gnosticism, where we know. And then beyond Gnosticism is becoming an agnostic, which means I have a pretty good idea, but I have no idea. I don't know. That's the kind of place that we get to. We allow that, yeah, what I know is minuscule compared to the vastness of this universe. But we can always get
I,
back
I, can,
there.
I would like to say thank you to Mother Nature. And this looks like, I hope I'm saying it right.
Holy moly. Uh-oh. What
Oh,
happened?
there we go. See, that's what happens. Oh, there, I just tripped on my long dress. Sorry.
No, it's okay.
But
No
I wanna say
mistake.
thank you to everybody that has heard because we are the way showers, man. This is an evolution. It's just, it's a beautiful, beautiful evolution. That's all I can tell you. And you wanna try on my rose-colored glasses? Come on over anytime. I'll let you do that.
Right? Holy moly is my brother Brandon, who pretty soon is going to be on one of these panels with me too. I'd like to do. This is an open place where we can just talk about. There is no mistakes here. There is no rights. There is no wrong. There is no I know, you know, we know. Like I said, I'm an agnostic. I have a good idea, but I have no clue. So that's my little brother, Mother Nature. Who else? Person was a person is Rachel, the shamana, and
Hi.
Cheryl is still on. She's looking for her wallet, poor thing, out there in the Arizona state line.
Oh, no, she's not a poor thing. She is a determined woman on a
That's
mission.
that's right. That's right. Well,
Yeah. I keep
hello.
telling her she's Saint Anthony. Saint Anthony, Saint Anthony. Something is lost.
Yeah. Oh, I know, right? Yeah. She should have one of those. Oh, and Katie is there too. Hey, Katie,
Oh,
what's up? That is our other sister with our little circle. You know what's funny? We're talking about small circles, and before me and Jamie started this, I was showing her in the preview. Hiawatha came, the
oh,
masculine, the masculine card Hiawatha, and as I was reading it, it was talking about being more platonic, having more, opening more platonic relationships. If you don't know what platonic means, that means friendships, communities, having interactions with one another. And it was specifically talking about the digital age, how the digital age is kind of making a lot of people a little more reclusive and secluded, when this should be a time where we do the drum, we do the sound baths. We do the hangout at the park and talk about the strange weirdness without being judged and feeling free to be like, you know what this tree just told me? I swear to God. And nobody's saying, oh, okay, what are you on? Right? These are the ways. So Hiawatha spirit is with us today. So everyone on here, I invite you, if you want to do panels with us, like let's open the dialogue. Let's break that barrier, that wall. Let's sing to Jericho, la, and open it up.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's been a long time since me and Mother Nature done readings together online. I am up for that. That would be fun. I've been chanting it the whole time. I really feel like I'm getting close, but if I don't find it in the next quarter mile, it's over. Yeah, I'm sorry, Cheryl. She said she's been chanting it.
But it is, but guess what? Somehow later, a year from now, we'll say, God, do you remember when you lost that wallet and what happened afterwards, Cheryl? So that's the fun about reflecting. It's kind of cool. I know being present is in the now, but there's nothing wrong with looking at all of what unfolded and say thank you. Thank you for being part of my team to bring me right here.
Right,
Thank you. Was it painful? Would I do it again? Some, yeah. Some others, no. But all in all, when you can look at that, not, remember, not when the machete has cut you open from the loss. This wallet is a loss. So let the wound breathe. Don't
yeah,
don't fix it, don't react, just be in it. Be in it and allow it because all of a sudden, the universe, the air, the molecular structure does what it's supposed to do. And I'm telling myself, it's Shell's not going to believe what's going to unfold for her.
right. If you lose your wallet, then expect a big reward. Yeah. You know, when you're talking about being present, that right here, right now, that's something, you know me, I'm always like, I need my money. And if you plan two things in a day, it's going to ruin my vibe, man. But I get a little spoiled with that wanting to be like right here now because of how wonderful it feels. My brother's been there a few times. Fire is within you. My raven just showed up. Ask your raven, tell your raven, Cheryl, say, hey, where is my wallet? And watch it guide you there. No bullshit. That's happened to me before. Not with the
Oh, and
wallet.
that's why they're there. Yes, Katie, my cup does say reflect.
Yeah. That's what I was getting to next. Yeah.
So,
But no,
uh,
I get really spoiled to that meditative state. Like when I
mm,
get there, oh my God, it's the sweetest high. Like you know me, I'm not very much. Every now and then I'll take some psychedelics if I'm at a drum circle or something. But I'm not very much into drinking or smoking weed or anything else. But that meditation, that is my sweetest high. There is the thing that I will fight for. I will say, no, damn it, I'm gonna get mine because it just feels so healing. I could be in absolute drainage and I take a walk at least a mile out somewhere and I sit on a rock where there's nothing. And once you get into that present moment, all of it comes back. All your life comes back, all the joy, the beauty, the bliss, the other side, and it's the best medicine I've ever had.
I just got what Katie. I just heard her here. And if anybody hasn't experienced this has been happening a lot lately. Like I know that Big Brother's watching all the time, and you'll be talking about we talk about all these different things, and they start showing up on the Book of Faces. But literally, I'm thinking, I'm not even talking them, and it's showing up. Well, I just got that Katie said reflect, and I had just been having the conversation of reflecting back. So I got that, Katie. Thank you.
That's something. That's
Yeah, that was good.
something that, yeah, Big Brother. You know why Big Brother watches? They're taking notes. They're studying. They like it. It's part of. They actually, um, I don't remember the name of the guy, but he was part of our little podcast circle, and he used to do remote viewing, right? So we're in his remote viewing class online, and I see behind him the word NASA and a really tall white alien. And I had told him, I said, I put in a chat, do you work for NASA? And he admitted that he did work for NASA. So they do kind of what Max Vision. There you go. Thank you, Nana. Max Vision. And I called him out for working for NASA, and he did. He worked for a part of NASA that studies paranormal investigations, psychic phenomena, remote viewing, and they do watch us, but it's not so malevolent. It's not so like what we think, like Big Brother's trying to. They're more open to it than we think, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
They do use this stuff.
But let me tell you, whatever they're doing with it, I mean, that can be a whole nother conversation.
Oh yeah.
That's where I I am I'm inviting everyone to just again slow down, go out in nature. The the wind, the erythrosis in the music in the trees is amazing. And just like John him said, is meditation. There's It's called tending your garden within. When you tend your garden within, um, it's amazing what is discovered. So there's a lot of deep roots. Don't think there is.
Oh yeah.
Um, there's a lot of deep roots, and I'm at my age. I'm still working on some pulling in the deep, but that makes that makes the tree that I am. That makes me the branch, the elder, the one that is now the skin, the bark is changing. My branches are getting a little harder to hold up, but I am knowing that with that, that's where that impermanence comes in. where I know one day I really do request a vessel to the other side, quick and easy, because I know back in the 1600s, we've talked about this. I believe I was burnt at a stake for being a witch or a sorcerer.
Yeah.
But on here, I want to be at the continuum of the tree and these stars. And yeah, I want to just, I know I'm going to come back in how many hundreds of years from now. And I know the work that we are doing and the love that we are acknowledging and self realizing within ourselves is going to be that little bell and that little drumbeat inside of somebody else's heart that says, I remember I'm not all those things people tell me I am. I am a sacred, divine expression of all of this.
Right.
Wow.
You know,
Alan, wow.
as you were talking about that, I could hear my brother talking to me about some of the things that impermanence. He's in our chat, and he was asking me to talk about working with our grandmother Carol, Grandpa Bud, my Uncle Billy when they passed away. Um, a lot of my shamanic journey has been transitioning souls on the other side to the light. And
Wow.
so it started with my family. I worked with my Grandpa Bud first. He came to me in a dream and he said, Son, he had a big U-Haul packed up. He said, Son, I'm moving to Australia. And I'm like, okay, Grandpa. And he's like, but before I go, I'm leaving you a bunch of tools for your life. And I said, okay. He was dead, by the way. He's been long gone at this point. I woke up in the morning and all of the alchemical teachings he used to teach me when I was young were on notification in my YouTube feed on my phone. And I knew it was him that did that. He had put every single thing, copper pyramids, the mind traveling, remote viewing. I worked with my grandmother Carol on the other side when she wasn't too happy about the way she had passed. She had heavy remorse and sorrow, so she never transitioned. She was in a lost state. And I worked with her quite a few months actually in dream, where we would sit and talk. It was kind of like a counseling session. And then finally, the last time I saw her, she was in a beautiful forest and happy, and the whole family was there. Mind you, even the family that was alive was there. How impermanent
Wow.
is that? We were all celebrating. My Uncle Billy, I had to travel through what we would call hell to reach. And my brother is laughing right now. Um, there's these different levels of what we would call hell. That's very comical because I was not one of the drones in hell. Everyone who is in this lost place, there was one level where there was millions of people crying, "Whoa!" And there was a cliff and there was soldiers throwing them bottles of water, right? But the bottles of water were landing about a foot in front of them. And I'm coming through and I'm like, what in the hell are you crying about? I'm thirsty. I'm like, the floor is littered with water bottles. Yeah, but they didn't throw it in my hand. And I'm like, ah, and I move on. I get to another
Mm.
level and there's millions of people standing before a 6-inch wide river of lava. And they're crying that they can't cross the lava. And I'm like, so I finally reached my Uncle Billy, and he's in a neighborhood, and the neighborhood's just kind of old. And we sit down and we're drinking a bottle of cherry wine. And he tells me, he goes, do you want to know what your soul looks like? And I looked at him and I said, my soul? And at that very moment, I opened my eyes from the dream, and the sun came through my window and lit right in my eyes to my bed. And I knew it was
Oh,
my Uncle Billy. So when we talk
wow.
about impermanence, if you have any fear, deal with it now because it does not exist on this other side. Even though I traveled through hell to get to my Uncle Billy, he was happy as a pig in shit, drinking cherry wine on his balcony, hanging out like we used to do at his house, only he didn't have any addictions in this life. So
Yeah,
there you are, bro.
yeah, beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for that share.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Thank my brother. He's the one who sent it to me. He's,
Thank you.
yeah,
Well, if
cool.
there's no more questions,
Yeah,
um,
yeah, go ahead. Would you like to
that's a way to talk about a lot of other things too, but that'll be another time.
and go ahead and put out your Stargate Facebook page? Because on top of the live, once these go into the playback, they get hundreds of views. So let your Stargate Sound Medicine shout out to the brother. Yeah, Brandon, say hello to everybody in the chat, bro. Me and him have telepathic. We see, we see each other. We see the same things. We feel each other. Um, He's a very beautiful man with a very deep soul and a masterful spiritual mind. So he's a good addition to my life. I've really loved. Anyways, yeah, tell us. Let's plug your Facebook channel and so I.
Well, kind of right now we just because and thanks to I think it was Mother Nature that said, "What's your channel?" So last year someone says, where's your web page?" Well, wait, web page? What are you talking about? So now Katie and I have launched our web page. It's Stargate Medicine, and I'll put that in the link afterwards. And we now have planned all of 2026. We're doing 3 overnight retreats in different locations. John is going to be doing a shamanic drum making class, and that will be in March. But we've planned all of 2026, and Katie and I are excited about that. We are taking the month of October or November off, but there must be what Bob calls pop-ups. Bob wants us to be share this amazing frequency that we do together. And anyway, so I'll put that in the chat if you don't mind. And I only have we have 4 more mats left for this coming Saturday. And we did announce a flash sale of $44. And then what it is nice is we were, I'll put that in the website, but we afterwards, because this is like a decompression, Katie is really, she's traveled around the world. And so she has experienced a lot of these ceremonies. And so when we collectively share our energy,
Yeah,
it's good to decompress. And then afterwards, we break bread, just like they did in circles. And so we have a community potluck after. And then, of course, you can swim. And then sometimes you put the jacuzzi. Um, I don't know if it'll be enough for a fire that afternoon, but a little fire is kind of nice. And of course, drumming is always welcome. So, yeah, that's about it. We do the cacao ceremony. We're now reading cacao
yeah,
cups. That has been, oh my God, that's been a game changer for us in excitement. We do usually one card pulls. It depends on what is being told or called.
absolutely. I can't wait. I look for. And you have an overnight retreat. We're good.
Yes, it's one is in February, one is in May, and the other one is in August.
Mother Nature. It's located here in Las Vegas at Shangri-La. Basically, you know Vegas. She lives on Hollywood and Washington, up there by the big houses, and I think
Yeah,
Grandma's Cove or Old Woman's Cave you used to tell me about. I think it's close to there. That's where
Yes,
Shane.
we're right at Sunrise Manor or Frenchman's Mountain, even though it was a Belgian man who discovered it. And then my girlfriend was really excited. We are where the two mountains meet, is like a little valley, and she says there's a wormhole. So I don't know about all that alien stuff yet, but
Yeah.
that's where it's at, and it's really cool because everyone, it's one of the best kept secrets in Vegas. Everyone thinks the East Side. Yeah,
Ah,
no, it's a secret. It's a really amazing little corner here. And yeah, there's an energy that is a lot of it's palatable. Yeah. So
of course, I remember that. I was always looking for old ladies' caves. Speaking of which, Mother Nature, I don't know if I told you before. It was a few years ago, though. Me and my dad found giants back there in the Sunrise Mountains. We found a spot where farmers go and sacrifice animals by
yep.
pushing them off of a cliff there. And me and my dad were just looking for bones, you know. And I'm walking with my big old, you remember my big old giant drum I made? And I'm walking up there and we're gathering bones. And I'm like, something's not right, Pops. It looks like something's carrying these cows and throwing the bones along the way. So we sat there for a moment. I started playing my drum, and I swear to God, this giant orangutan, orange haired head pokes its head out of a cave up on the hill. And my dad looks like this and he sits down. I said, "Do you see that?" He goes, "I don't know what the hell I'm seeing right now." But I found the giants up there, so I started taking meat and stuff, and I caught footprints of them. I've caught many footprints of them out there. Anyways, I know it's way off topic, but yeah, that's every time I would go through those mountains, I remembered Old Lady's Cave, and I was always looking for it. I think they filled it in. But anyways, I digress. I'm pushing this way farther than the shit. And thank you, Jamie. This has been amazing. And the first time we're gonna keep these going. So one thing that's fun to do, you start your channel, right? And then we have different hosts. Like you host lives on yours. We schedule them accordingly because we all got busy lives. And we'll
Okay.
just get the cycle going and have everyone boost their channels. It gives us all a reason to gather, talk, bring people from out of the state here and bring our views to them. Yeah. So those
Okay.
are some things to look forward to, guys. Thank you all for tuning in, and I had a wonderful experience. Anything
Thank you,
else
Jeff.
to say?
I'm just really grateful. I there's good and very good coming. And
Yeah,
it's here. We just have to just to breathe it in and remember just to keep listening, man. We are water. We capture like we're an antenna. We hear it all.
absolutely. That's
Yeah.
right. Thank you very much. I'll hold to that. All right, everyone. We're going to let this one go. I've had an amazing time. Thank you guys for coming in. Absolutely, Mother Nature, you're welcome. Thank you for tuning in, man. That's really cool. I appreciate you.
Yeah,
And
thanks. Keep
everyone else,
breathing
thank
and put yourself a bowl. Listen to the frequency.
Yes. Dude, honestly, like I used to have them. I sold my singing bowls just because I don't know. I wish I never did. They
Well,
were
no,
the.
he said there's going to be others coming the way, and now it's giving you the opportunity. I'm going to play my girl.
Hey,
It's given you the opportunity to do more of these for us because I keep saying when I first met you, you just fell out of the sky. I know you've been here a while, you've been here 25 years here in the valley, but just remember that um, it, Abigail playing them gives you the opportunity to gift us, John, with conversation and reminders of coming back in full circle to circle.
oh,
So with
thank
that, I'm going to play.
Bye, everyone. Thank you. All righty.